YouTube. Tristan Blaze here.
We are back. We are inside. One of the kids got home from school, felt a little under the weather. He is going to summer school. It is what it is, boys. Kids in summer school. It's Friday, we got paid. So, we did the review on the mess kit. Now, got a little bit of olive oil in here. Because he's under the weather, I got to be inside. So we got our mess kit here. We have just some regular, simple little beef cubes. Put a little bit of salt and pepper on it. That's all we did. Nothing else. Okay. We have half of a yellow onion diced, and we have one small red potato. Okay. Got our water from our mess kit. Got a bit of minced garlic. We have our serrano peppers, and I'm going to take 2 of these out because I want 2 of these. Yeah, those look pretty good. 2 of these in the dish. And we also have some tomato paste right here. It's in a tube. You can get in a can. And of course, because it is called Paprikash, we have paprika with the bay leaf. Any type of Eastern European, Slavic style cooking, Central European, you're using bay leaves. A lot of the time you're going to use bay leaves. Okay, that is looking good. First of all, a little bit of garlic first. Look to be about a clove. Thank you. I know a Hungarian girl on Twitter. I'm gonna get a Hungarian mess kit. I'm gonna make fucking goulash, and I'm gonna at her on Twitter with this. Just to see. So we're sauteing our onion, sauteing our garlic. We're going to take our little beef chunks here, and we're all you're doing is browning them. Okay, we're going to do everything we can with a mess kit or mess kit utensil. Obviously, we're not over an open fire or a burner or anything like that, but we make do when the situation depends that we make do. I think this is about a half a pound of meat. I think this might be a little too much meat, but I always like soups and stews very meaty when it comes to what they got. Oh yeah, that's looking beautiful. That's looking good. Get back down there and saute. Yeah, half a pound was a little too much. Smells great. Smells amazing in here, it really does. Just a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. You don't need a lot. Don't need a lot. I was going to use the Soviet kit, or not the Soviet stove, but again, you know, kid came home not feeling good under the weather, with summer school and everything. And I mean, hey, look, I surprisingly can take an IQ test and score 130 something, but I also have ADHD and a bit of autism. Now, it's not browned all the way, but it's close to being browned because we are pretty close to being brown. Let me throw that out. All right, there we go. Throw you out. Okay, number one, minced garlic can go away. Legion, I know you're a puppy, but you walk in the way of everybody. What's wrong? We'll use our mess kit here. Okay. Yeah, I think I put a little too much. I put a little too much beef in there. Give me 2 bay leaves. It's called Paprikash. You're putting you're going to be putting a lot of paprika in there, dude. You are. Boom. And decent amount of tomato paste. A little more in there. That is going to help thicken it up. You will go in the fridge in a second. So just want to stir the tomato paste around a bit. You know, break it up. Mix it with the paprika. Get the bay leaf flavor in there. What do the bay leaves do? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But you need bay leaves. So you put bay leaves in. Now we take our red potato. I'll throw you in. Yeah, definitely put a little too much meat in there. It's the first time I've ever cooked with the Yugoslavian mess kit. So every time you cook in the mess kit, unless it's a similar mess kit, like the old kidney mess kits that you might have seen, like, you know, West Germany, East Germany, stuff like that. You have to get used to that mess kit. You have to get used to it. You can't just say, like, oh, this is like every other. It's not like every other mess kit you've ever had. In fact, it probably isn't anything even remotely close to a mess kit you've had. So, yeah, I can tell you that the mess kit has X amount of quarts, cups, what have you, but that doesn't really tell you anything about how much it can hold until you actually cook with it. Because people are more visual learners, okay? I can tell you that this is 1 liter or half a liter or 5 cups, but what does that really mean visually? You don't notice that. We're going to heat up a little bit more. Definitely put a little too much of everything in this. But too much of everything also means I get some leftovers. I mean, it smells good. It smells freaking great. I love the smell. It smells, it kind of smells like a goulash almost. It really does. It really does kind of smell like goulash, but it's not, it doesn't have like a lot of the ingredients I would use in a goulash. Because number one, if I'm doing a goulash, I'm thinking back to the goulash recipe I do make normally. Actually, pretty much all this stuff. I mean, outside of the peppers. I don't use tomato paste. I use crushed tomatoes, honestly. All right, so it's starting to boil. starting to bubble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it down to a low simmer. I'm going to move it a little bit. Ah, that is very, very hot. That handle is very hot. I should have used a glove. Well, I will remember that in the future for when I'm cooking with something else. So I'm going to let this cool a little over here. Let it simmer for a bit. Then we're going to spoon it into this. I'm going to wash this. And we're going to spoon it into this. And we're going to see what it's going to be at the end. I swear to God, this is going to be amazing. Okay? I mean, you can see how much I filled that up. That looks pretty good. All right. There, we're back outside. Okay. All right. So we are back outside. Empty. Canteen. Let's discuss the mess kit first. This is your Yugoslavian mess kit. This is a German setup for your utensils. Fork, knife, spoon, can opener, bottle opener, holder right here. This has all of my paprikash in it, and you can see it. There's a marking right down here that says JNA 1978. Well, JNA 78. So it's made Yugoslavian National Army 1978. Where? Oh, we're up. Bay leaf. I got two of you in there. Ah, there we go. Number 2. Okay. Boom. Ooh. Ooh. That tastes good. Okay. Number 1. Let's talk about the case. Case is relatively simple. Okay. We have a snap button here. Snaps into place. Like so. There you go. What you're going to see on the inside is this. You have 2 of these. That is because when your mess kit is fully set up, your utensils are actually riding inside of your mess kit with your mess kit. Now, the German utensils are a lot thicker than the Yugoslavian utensils, which is why they're not in here, okay? I don't have Yugoslavian utensils yet. I will get them in the future. They're like 12 bucks on eBay. Here is basically your little freaking belt. Goes in here, web belt, combat belt, whatever you want to call it. Boom, there you go. Very, very simple. It's a cotton canvas setup. That's all it is. The kit itself, if you're not going to include this or the Yugoslavian utensils, 4 pieces. You got your metal fry pan pot here. Inside of that, you put your 1 liter canteen. On top of that, you have this here. I think this is about a 200 milliliter. I want to say drinking cup. Okay, I want to say drinking cup. Okay, I don't really know if it is a drinking cup though. And then on top, you have that. So that would go on top of this in here. Now, you have this right here, which will actually connect to that. So you could have something in here, you could be carrying it, and it's connected, and it's actually relatively good. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna spoon out some of the paprikash. And we are going to take a little looky-loo. I want some broth in there as well. Very, very meat-centric. I think I put a little too much meat in this recipe. Because the recipe I was looking at, it didn't really say put, 1 pound of this and put 2 pounds of that and put, X amount of this. It literally just said you need meat, some type of stew meat, some type of a pepper, You need a potato and you need an onion, and it's like, generally yellow onion, generally, traditionally red potato. Traditionally, they would also use Hungarian peppers. I couldn't find any Hungarian peppers.
There we go. There is the paprikash.
I used half a pound. That is still hot, Dan. That retains heat. That does retain a pretty decent amount of heat because it is pretty thick. I don't have anything to measure these, but just looking at it, it kind of looks thicker than it looks a bit thicker than the East German, West German, Soviet mess kits. It really does look thicker, okay? Potatoes are soft, but still got a bit of crunch to them, I can see, just by feeling them. Let's get a bit of everything. A little bit of broth. Okay. I would probably want to put, I'd want to put a little bit more tomato paste in than what I normally put. So I would say maybe 2 of these spoonfuls, full spoonfuls of tomato paste in would be my starting point. Bay leaf is good. 2 bay leaves are fine. Maybe a little bit more paprika. Let me just get broth. I know I put serrano peppers on it, and serrano peppers, as a little kick. I can taste a little kick. I really can. There is a little bit of a kick, I think I put a little too much meat in, however. I think I did throw a little bit. Yeah, there's a bit of a serrano pepper. There we go. Yeah, let me get that serrano pepper. Little bit of the broth. Potato, onion, serrano pepper, beef. This was like a Croatian-inspired paprikash. Yeah, when you're actually eating the peppers, it's going to give you a bit more kick. I would say maybe about maybe 10 minutes. Make sure the potatoes are really, really soft. I'd go with a bit more paprika, of course. You can't go wrong with that. You want more kick, more spice, more heat, hotter peppers. I didn't have access to Hungarian peppers here in America, Western New York, but this is actually pretty good. Meat, go down to 1/4 pound. No half pound, 1/4 pound. Especially for a kit that size. It's hot. Not spicy hot, temperature hot, man. This thing retains heat. I like it. It retains heat. Ah, man. If you can hear that, that's a siren going off, but it's not a... It sounds like an air raid siren, but it's not an air raid siren. Yeah, definitely 1/4 pound of meat, not a half pound, and a bit longer. Like a nice loaf of bread. Go great with this, man. It really would. This would go really good with a nice loaf of bread. It would. Get the spice mix a little bit more, a little bit more paprika. It would go good. Maybe a little bit more salt. I didn't really put much salt into it either. Just a little bit on the meat. Ah, damn, it's good. This is really good. I like this. I like this recipe. What I will do is I will configure the recipe a little bit more. Kind of give you an idea on like rough measurements, what I would assume would be good. But damn, this is good. This is really good. I think this alone would be a meal because the whole mess kit was full. Okay. Oh man, that's good. God, I can't get enough of this, man. I might have to start. I might have to actually, make this for real life. Temperature is hot as balls, though. Anyways, thank you, YouTube. It's Tristan Blaze with the review of the J&A mess kit. It's good quality. These things are relatively cheap compared to other mess kits. Like the Soviet, VDV, as they say, airborne mess kit that has the pot, the fry pan, and the canteen all rolled into one. And it has the pouch similar to this. I've seen those go for $100 on eBay, used. You can get this on eBay a lot cheaper. I would say this is heavier just because of that. You do have an integrated pocket on the inside for utensils. You don't have that with the Soviet one. If you're looking for sort of like an all-in-one inclusive, I want my pot, I want my mess kit, or I want my pot, I want my pan, fry pan, I want my canteen, all of this in one, I would go with the Yugoslavian mess kit. I do have the VDV one as well, the Soviet airborne one. It's marketed as Soviet airborne, but I've seen regular troops that were issued it, not the airborne guys. Now maybe they traded for it or something, but I did see pictures of the regular dudes in the military with them. I don't know. It's the Soviet Union, man. Make of it what you will. But good recipe, good mess kit. Depending on your ethnicity of the former Yugoslavia, good country. It depends on where you're from. It also depends on where your ancestors. Oh man, my nose is running from the freaking spice. Now the spice is kicking. My nose is running. Ooh. Now it's kicking in. I like that. Subtle. Anyways, thank you. Peace out.